Okay, so this is when I will do an update on my fairies and elementals. So, well, they haven't been doing much. I'll be honest. I don't create, I don't lie, I tell it as it is. If it happens, I tell it. If it doesn't, I'll say that too. I hate liars. So, it is what it is. I wish I could create and make these fantastical stories, but I don't. That's not my thing. So, in the few years we've had them, they don't do much, and I think that's partly because I tell them not to, or I did tell them, hey, you can come back, but on these conditions. So when they have done stuff, it started with small things like taking things. We thought we were paranoid. I thought I was crazy. I thought I was getting old, but it was happening to everybody, and it became more and more obvious, and it got to the point where I'm like, whoever took the whatever, the remote, the hairbrush, the whatever, could you please bring it back now? And we would always find it within a minute or two, usually in a place we've already checked. My husband and I, on a few occasions, few times, have lost the remote, scoured everywhere. I'm talking lifting cushions, under couches, checking everything, going bananas, like what the heck? And I will always end up going, okay, whoever took this, please give it back. Thank you very much. We need it back. And every time we would find it, and it would be sitting out, the remote would be sitting out on this one time in particular, sitting out on top of the couch, that we went by numerous times, checked all over, just sitting there. So they do things like that. They do things like that to my daughter, and she asks for stuff back, and she'll end up finding it in a random place, like her dresser drawer or someplace that she's already looked, and it shouldn't even be there, but she'll find it there. So they're mainly hers, and they like her room, so I guess they do it to her too. My son, not so much, though something recently happened to my son, because he's 9, and he knows what I believe. He thinks I'm a little cuckoo, and that is fine. I am not trying to brainwash or instill my beliefs into anybody, so including my kids. Take it, leave it, whatever. And I don't want to scare him. I don't want to frighten my children or make them believe that there's things running around the house they can't see. So this one morning, it was pre-dawn, he had climbed into bed with me and woke me up, of course, but I'm trying not to get up yet because I'm really tired. But he's laying there with me with the cat. I could hear the cat purring, and he's laying there, and all of a sudden he goes, "Mommy, mommy, mommy, mommy." And I'm like, what? There's something at the bed. There's something at the end of the bed. And so that brought me awake, like, what? And he goes, there was something that popped up at the end of the bed, and I asked him what it looked like, and he said it was small, and it looked like smoke and thin, and it popped up at the end of the bed. He goes, and we just stared at each other, and then it went back down. And I'm real, okay. I tried not to quiz him too much then, because I didn't want to freak him out more. I was just trying to stay calm, and maybe it was one of our dead cats, maybe it was this, maybe it was that. But I'm thinking now, because I didn't feel, as a psychic, I didn't feel any harm. I didn't feel any evil. I didn't feel any darkness. I felt something benevolent, something nice. And so I think now it wasn't the cat. I think it was one of the fairies. And because a couple days later, I asked him to describe it in more detail and everything. So this is what he said. So he said he's laying there with his eyes open, and I think the fairy didn't think anybody would be awake or whatever, because it was dark. My bedroom is dark. You know, we have all the dark curtains pulled and everything. But he said a little gray mist of smoke about this tall and about this wide, really thin, no definite features, no nothing. He said it was like a whitish cloud, slowly came up, and then it was like they stared at each other. Even though he said it didn't have any eyes, didn't have a face, he said he just knew they were looking at each other. Like, whoop. And then after a couple of seconds, it just went, when he was calling for it, went back down. And then he started calling for me and everything. So I think a fairy accidentally got saw by my son. And because I said, don't show yourself, you might frighten the children, maybe it just came as a puff of smoke. I mean, I know they can come in any size they want. Anything they want to do, they can do. But it would make sense because it's the same size that my daughter saw, but she saw the actual fairy when she was younger, the actual little being elemental, but I mean, that would make sense to me. So also, we have our front and back doors unlocking all the time. We have double locks on both doors because we're paranoid. So anyway, we do that, and it's a ritual. My husband's always the last one to bed. He always locks, and you know, and we'd wake up in the morning, and 1, 2, 3, 4 locks would be unlocked. You know, one of the doors would have one or both, or it was always, and I'm going, why are you doing that? And he's like, it's not me. I swear to God, I am logging. So it happened so much that I would start checking. He would check. He would double check. We would like triple check. Sometimes we were like, should we take a picture? I mean, should we like, this is what it is, and then go to bed? It was like that. But if you tell them, and I said, please stop unlocking the doors. It's not safe. And they'll stop. It'll stop. I mean, it's happened to me when I was home alone where the doors unlocked one time. And I said, I'm not having that. I'm home alone. I don't want that. And they stopped doing that. But nobody else was home. I know I locked all the locks before I went to bed. I'm paranoid about that, so I know I did. There's no way. So they haven't done it in weeks, probably more months now because we asked them not to. I don't know what that's about. This along the same lines, my husband was staying up late one night watching television, and we have a medium-sized dog. It's a Norwegian Elkhound, and very protective, very guard-oriented. And he said he was watching TV, and he heard the back door, which is only feet away from the couch, go click. He heard it. My husband's more skeptic than anything. He heard it unlock. Not only did he hear it unlock, but the dog went ballistic, jumped up, and started going crazy at the back door. My husband immediately went to the back door, checked it, and everything, and it was unlocked. One of the main locks were unlocked. The deadbolt one that you can't unlock from the outside was unlocked. So he went outside anyway and checked, and we have 6-foot privacy fence all the way around and a gate that we've chained shut because it doesn't fit together anymore, so we can't secure the gate. So anybody who could do that, and I don't even know how they could unlock a gate or a lock from the inside, from the backyard, and jump a fence in the dark, I don't know. But so, yeah, he was there for that. And this is crazy bizarre. This happened a few days ago, and the only reason I'm including it in my elemental story is it has to do with the doors, and they seem to like playing with the doors. But we were watching 2 of our favorite shows. It was this is like Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon, and we were watching UFOs, and we were watching a thing about missing people that go hiking or go to remote areas and just disappear, and there's no trace of them. People have looked forever, and then all of a sudden they find their skeletal remains or nothing at all, like they just vanish. So we were watching Missing 411. One of those shows, we watched both of them that day, but during one of those shows, I can't remember which one, I'll be honest, we were discussing it during the day. It was like 4 or 5 in the afternoon, something like that. While we were discussing it, my daughter is in her bedroom, which is closest to the front door, you know, just talking, earphones, talking to friends, all that kind of stuff. It went boom, 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 boom. I mean, like SWAT was at our door. The dog went bananas, went running to the front door, barking like crazy. My husband and I were like, what the hell? We didn't know what was going on. So he was going there to fight. He didn't know who was at the door. He was going, you know, to go figure it out. He opens the door. He comes back like 10 seconds later, something like that. And he's like, that's weird. And I go, what? He goes, there was nobody there. He went out and looked. There was nobody there. Now, this is Texas. It's 100 freaking degrees outside, and it's during the day. We were sitting there going, teens, even though we've been here 3 years, and the only kids in our area are really nice and polite. They come and they knock quietly on our door, going, hey, can we get our ball back from your yard? Stuff like that. Nobody's mean or anything like that, or do any pranks. So we don't understand that. And my husband used to do pranks when he was a teenager, and he was like, dude, we didn't do those in the day. You get caught doing it in the daytime. And it's 100 and something degrees. Nobody would do that. But he's still hoping it's teens because he can't figure it out. Because if it was UPS, there'd be a package. and he got to the door within 10 seconds. Or a note on the door going, we missed you. Or if it was a salesman, because they can get tricky with those door knocks trying to get you to come and answer the door. There'd be a salesman standing there, and there wasn't. So every scenario we tried to run by, we couldn't. So I don't, and honestly, I tried to figure out what it is, and I don't know. But I was doing blessings. I was doing cleansing of the house, raising vibration, protection. I was doing all that because whatever it is has to go. Because he opened a door, and I fear by opening the door he let it in, whatever it was. But it's gone now. I'm not worried. I'm not stressed. But in case it's fairies, or something along those lines that were trying to communicate with us because we're watching or talking about something specific related to that show, very interesting.